Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and welcome back and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my most recent trip, which was to Roatàn, Honduras with my family on vacation for Christmas. So let's get right into it. I'm just going to go through my trip piece by piece and let you guys know what I thought were the best parts and the negative parts, and give you all the information that you need to know if you want to go to Roatàn. So first, how do you get there? Well, for me, I went from San Diego to LA, LA to Houston, Houston to Roatàn. And even with that many flights, it was still pretty expensive. So it's kind of a hard location to get to, and there aren't very many direct flights, mostly from Houston or from Montreal. Especially if you're going during high season, which is Christmas around November to February, which is the best weather to go in, it's going to be pretty expensive. After we got to the airport terminal, we headed to our resort, which was Infinity Bay on the west bay of Roatàn. The resort that I stayed at had a shuttle from the airport to the hotel for us, but it's really easy to get around the island. You can just rent a car for not too much money, or you can brave it and do a scooter. But there is only one main road on the island, so it does get a lot of traffic and it's pretty windy. So I would say if you hadn't ridden a scooter or a motorcycle before, it might be a little bit scary. The island itself is a pretty small island. There's about 80,000 people who live there permanently as residents, and there are over 1 million visitors who come every year. These visitors mostly come through cruise ships, and there were 3 or 4 cruise ships every single day that we were there that docked for the day. The area that my family stayed in is called the West Bay of Roatàn, and here there are mostly a lot of resorts along this beautiful strip of beach, which main attraction there is snorkeling. So snorkeling was definitely the highlight of my trip, and we really got to see so many fish. I had never snorkeled before, so it was awesome learning how to, and learning how to in such a beautiful place, the Mesoamerican Reef. And fun fact, the Mesoamerican Reef is the 2nd largest in the world, right after Australia's. Overall, I thought the reef was in really good shape. I don't really have anything to reference to, but all the research that I did online said that the key indicator fish that we should see for a healthy reef, they were all there, so that's a good sign. Also, there were these just absolutely stunning coral bulb things. I don't know my coral terminology. I did notice it was a little less colorful than I would have anticipated, but I don't know if this is just because I don't have any experience and you see like edited pictures of reefs, or if it had to do with some of the bleaching of the reefs that is caused by climate change. In the waters, we saw a lot of different animals. I saw some huge fish, and my sister actually followed a stingray for a little bit, which was really cool for her. One of the negative things about snorkeling was that there were a lot of people there, and that some people were touching the coral with their flippers accidentally, or just actually touching it, which you are not supposed to do for the health of the coral. The food wasn't anything to rave about in my opinion at my resort. It was mostly American food and definitely American prices. One cool food that I tried, and it's not really food, but they did have a local Honduran beer, which was called Salvavida, which was very good. Another thing to know about West Bay is that it's a lot of kids or family orientation, or people who are sunbathing. And there's kind of a good mixture there, but if you do like more quiet, I don't know if it'd be the best place to go. Also, as I mentioned earlier, there's a direct flight from Montreal, so that there were a lot of French-speaking Canadians, and so I did hear a lot of Spanish, but I also heard a lot of French while I was there. As per the state of the sand, I thought it was absolutely stunning. It's just a really pretty area, and there wasn't a ton of trash. I did go on the mornings and pick up trash along the beach, but the people who work there at the resorts are really good at cleaning up after the people who cannot put things in garbage cans. I don't understand why you are next to an ocean by not putting your trash in the garbage can. One of my favorite things to do is walk the beach in the morning and just get some beautiful pictures and video of the sunrise over the ocean. Also, one day we walked down the beach to a nature park called Gumbo, Limba, and this park was actually $30 to enter, which is, I think, pretty steep for what it was. They say that it's more of like a nature conservatory, and my main takeaway was that there wasn't enough education in our tour. So we had a personal tour guide who led us through everything, and it really lacked the personality and the conservation atmosphere that it kind of gave off, and it gave off more of an amusement park vibe for me. Also, one thing to note about Roatàn is that there aren't many local animals, mostly on the east end, which is more local residences and not many tourists go over there, and they have a couple boar, and there's a lot of iguanas on the island, but all the sloths and the monkeys are actually rescued as pets from the mainland and taken to Roatàn as educational purposes. The reason I put air quotes is there's not really a way that we can verify if this is actually happening or if it's like people taking animals because they want a tourist attraction, but I'm gonna choose to believe the people who are there and say that they were actually rescued animals. And at this park, compared to the one I'll talk about later, the animals were free to go up in the trees, but they were trained to come and sit on you. So moving out of West Bay, for one of the days we rented a car and we went to West End, and that was a really cool area for if you want to dive. A lot of people go there to get their diving certificate because it's one of the cheapest places in the world to get that. So West Bay was trying to be the resort high end, whereas West End was trying to be more of the authentic tourist destination, but it mostly was still tourist, and so in itself it was kind of a an expat get-together place, as you may. One place to check out if you are in West End is Rusty Fish, and they actually take plastic from the ocean or the beaches and make it into jewelry or cool decorative things. Another place to check out on the West End is the Chocolate Factory, where it's actually a small batch chocolate made in Roatàn, and it was really, really good. The third spot we went to was French Harbor, and we went there to see the monkey and sloth hangout and the iguana reserve. So both of these places cost $10 to enter, and with the monkey and sloth hangout, I felt that it was a good experience, something that I've not really experienced before, being so close to animals, and getting to hold a sloth was a really cool experience. It's the same thing as the other park where there's not animals on the mainland, so they rescue them from the mainland to take to Roatàn. Here's a little interview that I shot with one of our guides there.
My name is Owen. I've been here all my life on the island. And also, here at the Sanctuary, the best thing about, and the most important thing here on the island is educating others, especially schools. We're around here, other people from the mainland and stuff. They actually comes here sometimes to actually learn and to see all the animals that we have here.
Education was definitely something that's really cool about this place, but for myself, I didn't feel like I learned enough to have these animals still be in cages. So as for the iguana hangout, people on the island would eat iguanas as a local dish, and so they were becoming extinct. And so someone created this habitat so that lots of iguanas can stay and chill and people can kind of wander in and out. So reflecting on the trip, I have a couple main takeaways that I'd like to share with you guys. So first is that the snorkeling is just absolutely beautiful, and as a person who's never snorkeled before, I thought that it was a really enriching and beautiful experience. Second, if you really like to go and lay on the beach, this is your place. It's sunny, it's beautiful, and there's always lots of music and fun to just chill and lay. The Honduran people that I met, mostly in the tourism industry, were absolutely wonderful. They answered all of my annoying tourism questions, and obviously I phrased them in a kind and thoughtful way, I hope. But they weren't annoyed with me at all just by asking questions, and they were actually really excited to talk about their culture and what tourism has done for them on the island, pluses and negatives. One of the other pluses that I found was that the islanders speak both English and Spanish natively, so it's easier for Americans who want to interact with the Honduran culture but don't speak Spanish to really get a sense of the island but still the Honduran culture. So for the minuses, the first would be that there's kind of a lack of education I felt on the island, and that some of the things that promoted themselves more as ecotourism or conservation minded didn't give me a ton of information about the things that they're doing, and there wasn't a lot of information for tourists on how to make their stay more sustainable. So unless you really do your research and know how to interact with coral reefs or how to interact with local animals, you're not gonna know because people don't really talk about it Another minus I would say is the high prices. It's pretty difficult to get there on a low budget and stay on a low budget. And so if you're looking for more of a less expensive destination, I don't think that this is the place for you. As per national parks, the reef itself is actually a national protected area, but I didn't find that there were many hikes or trails which I was looking forward to doing. I would say the biggest minus of the island for me is that it's a cruise ship dominated tourism industry, which means that a lot of the local activities that you'd want to do are things that only last about a day because that's how long people dock for. I'm not saying don't go. I'm just saying that you need to evaluate what you want out of a vacation, and if you want to sit around and snorkel and lay on the beach, it's a good place to go. But if you want more of that adventure travel or you want more wildlife, then I would say that Roatàn is not the place for you. So if you're here just because you wanted to learn more about Roatàn and you haven't seen any of my videos before, welcome. Go ahead and click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. And if you're one of my returning subscribers, then I hope that you got something out of this video. Maybe you know more about what kind of vacations you want to take. That's all for now, and I'll see you guys next Monday.